The repair station floated in the darkness of space like a small metal island. Waypoint 7 was not a beautiful place. The walls were old. The lights sometimes flickered, but for Ho, it was home for now. He wiped the oil from his hands and looked at the clock on the wall. His shift had ended 2 hours ago, but there was always more work. More ships came every day. More problems needed fixing, and every repair meant more money to send back to Earth. Ho was 28 years old. He had left his home planet 3 years ago with nothing but a bag of tools and a promise to his mother. "I will come back," he had told her. "When I have enough money for your medicine, I will come home." His mother had cried. His younger sister had held his hand and said nothing, but he saw in her eyes that she understood. Someone had to go, someone had to work, and Ho was strong enough to do it. Now he lived in a small room on the station. He ate simple food. He worked long hours, and every month he sent almost everything he earned back to his family. The station manager, an older man named Ho-jin, walked over to him. "One more job came in," he said. "A luxury ship, class. They say it's urgent." Ho looked at the clock again. He was tired. His body wanted to rest, but he thought about his mother lying in her bed back on Earth. He thought about the medicine she needed. "I'll take it," he said. The ship was different from anything Ho had seen before. It was long and silver, with smooth curves that seemed to glow in the station lights. Ships like this cost more than he would earn in 100 lifetimes. The door opened and 2 tall aliens walked out first. They were bodyguards, Ho could tell. Their skin was pale blue, and their eyes looked at him like he was dirt on their shoes. Then she appeared. The alien girl was beautiful in a way that made Ho forget to breathe for a moment. Her skin was silver like starlight. Her eyes were deep violet, like flowers he remembered from Earth. She moved with the grace of someone who had never worked a day in her life. "You are the mechanic?" one of the bodyguards asked. His voice was cold. "Yes," Ho said. He kept his voice calm and steady. "Show me the problem." The bodyguard made a sound of disgust. "Humans," he muttered. "Such a primitive species. I still do not understand why we stopped here." Ho said nothing. He had heard worse. Many alien species thought humans were young and simple. They looked at human history, just a few thousand years of civilization, and laughed. Some aliens had histories that went back millions of years. But Ho did not care what they thought. He cared about doing his job well. He walked into the ship and found the engine room. The problem was clear to him within minutes. A power coupling had cracked. It was a small thing, but if left alone, it could destroy the whole engine. He began to work. His hands moved carefully, like a doctor performing surgery. He treated every piece with respect, even the smallest bolt. "You are very careful." Ho looked up. The alien girl was standing in the doorway, watching him. Her bodyguards were nowhere to be seen. "Machines deserve care," Ho said simply. "If you treat them well, they work well." The girl tilted her head. "That is strange thinking. Most people just replace things when they break." "Most people have money to waste," Ho said. He turned back to his work. She was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Why do you work so hard? I watched you for an hour. You never stopped. You never rested. Why?" Ho did not answer right away. He finished connecting a wire, checked it twice, then finally spoke. "Someone is waiting for me to come home." The girl blinked. "That is your reason. Someone is waiting." "My mother is sick," Ho said. "My sister is in school. They need money, so I work." "But there must be easier ways to get money," the girl said. "You could find a rich person to serve. You could sell things. You could." "I am not looking for easy," Ho said. "I am looking for honest." The girl stared at him like he had said something in a language she did not understand. In her world, people worked for power. They worked for status. They worked to have more than the person next to them. No one worked simply because someone was waiting. "I am Lyra," she said finally. "My father is Lord. Our family controls trade across 7-star systems." Ho nodded politely. I am Ho. Just Ho. Just Ho. He continued working. Lyra continued watching. The silence between them was comfortable, not awkward. After another hour, the repair was complete. Your ship is ready, Ho said. The coupling was damaged, but I fixed it. You should have it checked again in 6 months. Lyra looked at the engine, then at Ho. Something in her eyes had changed. She seemed to be thinking deeply. Come with me, she said suddenly. Ho paused. Excuse me. Come with me, Lyra repeated. Be my personal attendant. I will pay you 10 times what you earn here. You will live in comfort. You will eat the finest food. You will see the most beautiful places in the galaxy. She stepped closer. I will make you very happy. Ho looked at her. She was serious. This was not a joke or a trick. She was offering him everything most people dreamed about. But Ho shook his head slowly. No, he said. Lyra's eyes went wide. No, do you understand what I am offering you? Wealth, comfort, happiness. Happiness is not something you can give me, Ho said quietly. It is something I have to build with my own hands. He bowed politely and walked past her, off the ship. Lyra stood alone in the engine room for a long time. No one had ever refused her before. No one had ever said no to her offer. She had everything anyone could want, yet this simple human mechanic had walked away like her wealth meant nothing. She did not understand him, but she wanted to. That night after Lyra's ship had gone, Ho sat in his small room and waited for his weekly video call. When his face appeared on the screen, he smiled. But did not smile back. Her eyes were red from crying. Oppa, she said, using the Korean word for older brother. Mom got worse. The doctor says she needs better medicine, but it costs so much more than we have. Ho felt his heart drop. How much? Told him the number. It was more than he could earn in 5 years of working at Waypoint 7. He closed his eyes. He thought about his mother's smile. He thought about the promise he made before he left, and he thought about the beautiful alien girl and her offer. I will find a way, he told his sister. I promise. But after the call ended, Ho sat in the darkness and wondered if promises were enough anymore. 1 week passed like a slow nightmare for Ho. He worked double shifts every day. He slept only 4 hours each night. He stopped eating proper meals, saving every small coin he could. But the numbers did not lie. No matter how hard he worked, the money he needed was impossibly far away. His mother needed treatment now, not in 5 years. Every night he looked at the picture of his family on his wall, his mother's gentle face, his bright smile. They were waiting for him, they believed in him, and he was failing them. Ho Jin, the station manager, noticed the change in Ho. You look terrible, he said one morning. When did you last sleep properly? I am fine, Ho said, but his hands were shaking as he held his tools. You are going to hurt yourself, Ho Jin warned. Or worse, you will make a mistake and hurt someone else. Go rest. I cannot rest, Ho said quietly. Not yet. On the 8th day, a familiar silver ship appeared on the station's sensors. Ho was working on a cargo vessel when he heard the news. His heart did something strange. Part of him felt relief. Part of him felt fear. He did not know which feeling was right. This time, Lyra came alone. No bodyguards, no servants, just the alien girl in simple clothes walking through the station like any normal traveler. She found Ho in the repair bay. He was under a transport ship, fixing a fuel line. She waited patiently until he finished and rolled out. You came back, he said. It was not a question. I could not stop thinking about you, Lyra said. There was no shame in her voice. About what you said, about happiness. Ho stood up slowly. He wiped his hands on a cloth and looked at her. In the harsh station lights, she seemed less like a princess and more like a normal person, a lonely person. Why, he asked. Lyra took a deep breath. Because I have everything. My family owns ships and planets and treasures. People bow when I walk past. I eat food that costs more than most beings earn in a year. I have everything anyone could want." She paused. Her violet eyes looked down at the floor. "But I am not happy," she continued. "I have never been happy. I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought I was broken inside. But then I met you." Ho said nothing. He just listened. "You have nothing," Lyra said. "You live in a tiny room. You work until your hands bleed. You eat simple food. But when you talked about your family, when you talked about going home, I saw something in your eyes, something I have never felt." "What did you see?" Ho asked softly. "Purpose," Lyra said. "You have a reason to wake up every morning, a reason to keep going when things are hard. I realized I have never had that, not once in my whole life." The repair bay was quiet. Somewhere in the distance, a machine hummed. Ho thought about what she had said. He thought about all the rich and powerful people he had seen over the years. Many of them had the same empty look in their eyes that Lyra had. "Having money does not give you purpose," Ho said finally. "Having someone to love does." Lyra looked at him. "Then teach me." "Teach you what?" "Teach me how to find purpose, how to find real happiness." She stepped closer. "I am not asking you to be my servant anymore. I am asking you to be my companion, my teacher." Ho shook his head. "I am just a mechanic. I am not wise or special. I just do what I must do." "That is exactly why I am asking you," Lyra said. "Everyone around me tries to impress me. They tell me what I want to hear. They bow and smile and lie. You are the first person who told me the truth." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small device. When she pressed a button, numbers appeared in the air. Bank account information. Amounts that made Ho's eyes go wide. "I know about your mother," Lyra said gently. "I asked questions after I left. I know she is sick. I know you need money for her medicine." Ho's throat felt tight. "How do you know that?" "Because I listened when you talked," Lyra said. "Something people rarely do for me." She pressed another button. "This is payment for her treatment, all of it, right now to whatever hospital she needs." Ho stared at the numbers. His heart was beating fast. This was everything he needed, everything his mother needed. One touch and years of worry would disappear. "What do you want in return?" he asked carefully. "1 year," Lyra said. "Come with me for 1 year, not as a servant, as a friend. Teach me what you know about life. Help me find what I have been missing. And after 1 year, you go home, no questions, no tricks. I give you my word." Ho closed his eyes. He thought about his mother coughing in her bed. He thought about studying late at night, worried about hospital bills. He thought about all the years of struggle still ahead of them. Then he thought about himself, about what he might lose by accepting, about what he might become in a world of wealth and power. But the choice was not really a choice at all. He was not doing this for himself. He was doing this for the people he loved. "I have conditions," Ho said, opening his eyes. Lyra nodded. "Tell me." "1 year only, not a day more. When the time comes, I leave and you do not try to stop me." "Agreed." "I will not pretend to be something I am not. I will not wear fancy clothes and act like I belong in your world. I am a mechanic. That is who I am." "Agreed." "And I will always tell you the truth, even when you do not want to hear it. If you want a friend who lies to make you feel good, find someone else." Lyra smiled. It was a real smile, not the polished one she showed to important people. "That is exactly what I want." She held out her hand. Ho looked at it for a long moment. Then he reached out and shook it. "Send the money," he said. "I will come with you." Lyra pressed the button. Somewhere across the galaxy, Ho's family received more money than they had ever seen in their lives. That night Ho sent a message to, "The money is coming. Take care of Mom. I will explain everything soon." Then he packed his small bag, his tools, his clothes, the picture of his family. Everything he owned fit in one bag. It had always been that way. As he walked toward Lyra's ship, he felt strange. Not happy, not sad, just aware that his life was changing in ways he could not yet understand. Lyra was waiting at the entrance. "Are you ready?" Ho looked back at Waypoint 7. The old station, the flickering lights, the place that had been his home for 3 years. He would miss it in a way. It was simple and honest like him. "I am ready," he said. The door closed behind them. The ship lifted off. And somewhere in the darkness of space, a simple mechanic began a journey that would change more than just his own life. He did not know it yet, but he was about to show an entire galaxy what humanity was truly made of. There was nothing like Earth. Ho stood at the window of Lyra's ship and watched as they descended through golden clouds. Below, a city stretched across the horizon like a dream made solid. Buildings floated in the air, connected by bridges of light. Gardens hung from the sky, filled with flowers that glowed in colors Ho had no names for. Waterfalls fell upward, defying gravity, catching the sunlight like liquid diamonds. "Welcome to my home," Lyra said, standing beside him. Ho could not speak. He had seen pictures of wealthy planets before, but pictures could not capture this. The beauty was almost painful to look at. Lord's estate was the largest structure in the city. It sat on a floating island of its own, surrounded by gardens that seemed to go on forever. Servants waited at the landing pad, bowing low as Lyra stepped off the ship. They looked at Ho differently, some with curiosity, some with disgust. He was human after all, a member of a young and primitive species. What was he doing here? Ho kept his face calm. He had learned long ago that showing weakness only invited more cruelty. Lyra led him through halls of marble and gold. Every room was bigger than the repair station where he used to work. Every piece of furniture cost more than he would earn in a lifetime. The wealth was suffocating. "This is your room," Lyra said, opening a door. Ho looked inside. The room was 3 times the size of his old quarters on Waypoint 7. The bed was soft enough to sink into. The window showed a view of floating mountains in the distance. "It is too much," Ho said quietly. Lyra laughed. "Too much. This is one of the smallest guest rooms." "Then your smallest is still too big." She did not understand, but she did not argue. That was something Ho appreciated about her. She listened, even when she did not agree. In the first week, Lyra took Ho everywhere. She showed him the art galleries, filled with paintings that had survived millions of years. She took him to parties where aliens in beautiful clothes drank rare wines and talked about nothing important. At one party, a tall lord approached them. His eyes moved over Ho like he was examining an insect. "So this is your new pet," the lord said to Lyra. "I heard you brought a human from some repair station. How amusing." "He is my friend," Lyra said, her voice cold. "Friend?" the lord laughed. "My dear Lyra, one does not make friends with primitive species. One keeps them as entertainment. Tell me, human, can you do any tricks?" Ho felt anger rise in his chest, but he pushed it down. Getting angry would not help. "I can fix your ship's engine in half the time your mechanics can," Ho said calmly. "I can cook food that actually has flavor, and I can hold a conversation without insulting someone I just met." The lord's face turned dark purple with embarrassment. Around them, other guests whispered and laughed quietly, not at Ho but at the lord. Lyra grabbed Ho's arm and pulled him away. When they were alone, she looked at him with wide eyes. "No one talks to Lord like that," she said. "Then maybe someone should," Ho replied. That night Ho could not sleep. The bed was too soft. The room was too quiet. He missed the hum of machines, the familiar sounds of the repair station. He went to the kitchen instead. The cooking machines were fancy and complicated, but he found basic ingredients: flour, vegetables, simple things. He began to cook. His mother had taught him before he left Earth. "Food made with your hands carries your heart," she always said. "Machines cannot do that." Lyra found him there an hour later. The smell had woken her. "What is this?" she asked, looking at the bowl he placed before her. Ho said, "Rice porridge. My mother made it for me when I was sick or sad." Lyra stared at the simple dish. In her life, she had eaten meals created by the finest chefs in the galaxy, food that took weeks to prepare, food served on plates made of crystal and gold. But she had never had someone make food for her with their own hands. She took a bite. The taste was simple, plain even, but something about it made her throat tight. Her eyes filled with tears. "Why am I crying?" she whispered. "Because you can taste that someone cared," Ho said. Lyra ate the whole bowl. When she finished, she sat in silence for a long time. "Teach me," she finally said. "Teach me to make this." And so Ho did. Night after night, he taught her to cook simple meals. She burned things. She added too much salt. She made mistakes that would have shamed any kitchen servant. But she kept trying, and slowly she got better. She started a small garden on her balcony, just vegetables, simple plants from different worlds. She watered them every day, watching them grow with wonder. "I made something," she said one morning, showing Ho a flower that had finally bloomed. Her hands were dirty with soil. Her face was bright with joy. Lord noticed the changes in his daughter. He did not like them. One evening, he called Ho to his office. The room was cold and dark, filled with trophies from business deals and political victories. "Sit," Lord commanded. Ho sat. "I know what you are doing," Lord said. His voice was calm, but his eyes were sharp like knives. "You are trying to change my daughter, to fill her head with your primitive human ideas." "I am only teaching her what she asked to learn," Ho said. "She does not know what she needs." Lord leaned forward. "Lyra is meant for great things, marriage to a powerful family, alliances that will expand our empire. She does not need dirt under her fingernails and simple food in her stomach." He pushed a small box across the desk. When Ho opened it, he saw more money than he could count. "Take this and leave," Lord said. "Go back to your repair station. Go back to your planet. I will tell Lyra you chose to go. She will forget you within a month." Ho closed the box and pushed it back. "I made a promise," he said. "1 year, I will stay for 1 year." "Everyone has a price, human." "Not everyone," Ho stood up. "I learned something from my mother. She taught me that honor is worth more than gold. I did not understand when I was young, but I understand now." Lord's face showed no emotion, but his hands tightened on his desk. "You do not understand our world," he said softly. "Everything here has a price. Everything can be bought or sold, even you." "Then I will prove you wrong," Ho said. He walked out of the office and did not look back. That night a message came from. Her face appeared on the screen, smiling bright. "Mom is getting better," she said. "The doctors say she will be okay. We cannot thank you enough." Ho smiled back. "Just take care of her. I will be home soon." But smile faded a little. "Be careful, Opa. Do not lose yourself in that world. Remember who you are." After the call ended, Ho sat alone in his too big room. He looked at the picture of his family. "I remember," he whispered. "I will always remember." Outside his window, the floating gardens glowed in the moonlight, beautiful but cold, like everything in this world. Everything except Lyra, who was learning to be warm again. 8 months had passed since Ho arrived on the 8 months of teaching and learning, 8 months of watching Lyra slowly become a different person. She laughed now, real laughter, not the polite sounds she made at parties. She spent her mornings in the garden, hands covered in dirt, face bright with satisfaction. She cooked her own meals sometimes, simple dishes that she was proud of. The servants whispered about her. The lords and ladies at parties looked at her strangely, but Lyra did not care anymore. For the first time in her life, she was happy. Ho watched her growth with quiet pride. This was what he had come for. This was worth everything. But happy things do not last in houses built on power. One morning, Lord called Lyra to the great hall. Ho was not invited, but he heard about it later from a servant who felt sorry for him. In the hall, Lord stood beside a young man. He was handsome in the way that expensive statues are handsome, perfect but cold. His name was Prince, son of Lord Merk, whose family controlled trade in 6-star systems. "Daughter," Lord said, "I have wonderful news. The alliance between our families has been agreed. You will marry Prince in 3 months." Lyra felt the floor drop from under her feet. "Marriage," she whispered, "you never spoke of this." "I speak of it now," Lord said. His voice was calm but hard like stone. "This union will double our power. Our family will become the greatest in the sector." Prince smiled at Lyra. It was the smile of a man looking at a new ship he had just purchased. "I look forward to having you as my wife. I have heard much about your beauty." He did not mention her garden, her cooking, the person she was becoming. To him, she was just a prize, a business deal. Lyra wanted to scream, but she had been trained since birth to control her feelings, so she simply nodded and left the hall without a word. She found Ho in his room, reading a book about history. When he saw her face, he closed the book immediately. "What happened?" Lyra told him everything. The marriage, Prince, her father's plans. Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. "I cannot do it," she said. "I cannot go back to being empty. Not now. Not when I finally know what happiness feels like." Ho was quiet for a long moment. He had known this day might come. Power always demanded payment. "What do you want to do?" he asked gently. Lyra grabbed his hands. Her violet eyes were desperate. "Run away with me." Ho's heart stopped. "I have money hidden," Lyra continued quickly. "Enough to live comfortably on a distant world, somewhere my father cannot find us. We could be happy there, I know we could." Ho looked at her. In that moment, he understood something important. He cared about her, more than he had allowed himself to admit. The idea of running away, of starting a new life together, was more tempting than anything her father had offered. But that was exactly why he had to say no. "Lyra," he said softly, "I cannot do that." Her face crumbled. "Why not? Do you not care about me?" "I care enough to tell you the truth." Ho held her hands tightly. "If we run, you will always be running. You will never be free. You will just be hiding. And every day you will wonder what you left behind, what you gave up." "I do not care about what I am leaving behind." "You say that now, but in 5 years, in 10, when you wake up in some small house far from home, will you still feel the same?" Lyra pulled her hands away. "So what am I supposed to do? Marry a man I do not love? Become a puppet again?" "No," Ho said. "You are supposed to fight." Lyra stared at him. "Fight against my father, against the whole system." "Yes." Ho stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the floating gardens bloomed in the sunlight. "You are stronger than you think, Lyra. You have changed so much in these months. The woman I met at the repair station was scared and empty. The woman standing before me now has fire in her eyes." "Fire is not enough against my father." "Then let your fire inspire others." Ho turned to face her. "You told me once that other young nobles feel the same way you do, trapped, empty, forced into lives they did not choose. What if you showed them another way?" "My father would destroy me." "Maybe, or maybe he would find that destroying you costs more than it is worth." Ho walked back to her. "I cannot give you freedom, Lyra. No one can give you freedom. You have to take it. You have to stand up and say that your life belongs to you, not to your family's business deals." Lyra was silent for a long time. Tears ran down her silver cheeks. "I am scared," she whispered. "I know," Ho said. "Being brave does not mean not being scared. It means being scared and standing up anyway." She looked at him with something like hope. "Will you stand with me?" "For the time I have left, yes. But after that, you must stand alone. That is the only way you will ever truly be free." Before Lyra could respond, the door burst open. Lord's guards stormed in, their weapons pointed at Ho. Lord himself followed, his face twisted with anger. "Did you think I would not find out?" he hissed at Ho. "My servants heard everything. You have been turning my daughter against me." "I have been teaching her to think for herself," Ho said calmly. "The same thing," Lord gestured to the guards. "Arrest him. He has stolen from my family." "I have stolen nothing," Ho said. "You have stolen my daughter's obedience. That is worth more than gold." Lord smiled coldly. "But I will give you a proper charge. There are jewels missing from the family vault. I am sure a search of your room will find them." Ho understood immediately. The jewels would be planted, the evidence would be perfect, and the punishment for theft from a noble family was severe. "Father, no!" Lyra screamed. She tried to reach Ho, but guards held her back. "This is for your own good, daughter," Lord said. "When the human is gone, you will remember who you really are." The guards grabbed Ho's arms. He did not resist. Fighting would only make things worse. But as they dragged him away, he looked at Lyra one last time. "Remember what I taught you," he said. "Remember who you can become." Then he was gone, pulled through the doors and into the darkness. Lyra stood alone in the empty room. Her father's words echoed in her ears. Her heart was breaking, but beneath the pain something else was growing. Anger. Not the hot anger that burned fast and died. This was cold anger, patient anger, the kind that changed things. Ho believed she was strong. Now it was time to prove him right. The holding cell was cold and dark. Ho sat on the hard floor, his back against the wall, waiting for whatever came next. He was not afraid. He had known the risks when he agreed to come here. He had known that powerful people did not like being challenged. And he had challenged Lord simply by being himself. The punishment for stealing from a noble family was exile to a prison world, hard labor, no hope of return. People sent there were forgotten by the galaxy. But even now, alone in the darkness, Ho did not regret his choices. He had helped someone find their strength. He had shown Lyra that happiness was possible. Whatever happened to him now, that could not be taken away. The door opened. A guard stepped inside and threw a bowl of cold food at Ho's feet. "Eat while you can, human," the guard said. "The prison ships leave tomorrow." Then the door closed again. Ho did not touch the food. Instead, he closed his eyes and thought about home, about his mother getting stronger now, about probably finishing her studies, about the small apartment where he grew up, filled with warmth and love despite having so little. He smiled in the darkness. Some things were worth more than freedom. In the great hall of Lord's estate, a council had gathered. The most powerful families in the sector sat in floating chairs, their faces serious. At the center stood Lord, looking confident and calm. Beside him was Prince, dressed in ceremonial clothes. The marriage contract lay on a table, ready to be signed. And facing them all was Lyra. She had not slept the night before. Her eyes were tired but clear. She wore simple clothes, not the expensive gowns her father preferred. In her hand was nothing but a small data device. "Daughter," Lord said smoothly, "we have all gathered to celebrate your engagement. All that remains is your signature." He pushed the contract toward her. Prince smiled his cold smile. Lyra looked at the contract. Months ago, she would have signed without question. She would have accepted her fate like a good daughter. She would have buried her true self forever. But she was not that person anymore. She picked up the writing instrument. The council leaned forward. Lord's smile widened. Lyra put the instrument down. "No," she said. The word echoed through the silent hall. Lord's smile froze. "Excuse me," he said. "I will not sign." Lyra's voice was steady. "I will not marry someone I do not love for the sake of business. I will not be traded like cargo." The council members began to whisper. This had never happened before. No one refused Lord. "You are confused, daughter," Lord said, his voice tight with controlled anger. "The human has poisoned your mind. Once he is gone, you will think clearly." "The human taught me to think for the first time in my life," Lyra said. "He showed me that there is more to living than wealth and power. He showed me that happiness comes from inside, not from things you own or people you control." She held up her data device. "And I know I am not alone." She pressed a button. Around the room, the younger nobles shifted in their seats. Many of them looked at Lyra with something like hope. "I have spoken with others my age," Lyra continued. "Lords and ladies from powerful families who feel the same way I do, trapped, empty, sold into marriages and alliances they never wanted. We are tired of being pieces in our parents' games." Lord's face turned pale. "This is treason." "This is truth," Lyra said. "And if you try to silence me, these words will spread anyway. I have made sure of that." She looked around the room at the older council members. "We are not your property. We are not your investments. We are people, and we will no longer be silent." One by one, young nobles around the room stood up. Some were scared, some were shaking, but they stood. Lord saw his perfect plan falling apart. The marriage alliance, his daughter's obedience, his control over the younger generation, all of it crumbling because of one human who had refused to be bought. Prince looked embarrassed and angry. He grabbed the contract. "This is ridiculous. I will not be refused by some confused girl." "Then find another confused girl," Lyra said coldly. "You will not have me." The council hall erupted in arguments, old nobles shouting, young nobles standing firm, Lord trying to regain control but finding his voice lost in the chaos. In the end, no contract was signed, no alliance was made. Prince left in anger, and Lord was forced to release Ho or face questions about the false charges that even he could not answer. The guards brought Ho from the holding cell that evening. He was tired and hungry, but otherwise unharmed. Lyra was waiting for him in the garden, her garden, the one she had grown with her own hands. "You did it," Ho said softly. "I did what you taught me," Lyra replied. "I stood up." They sat together among the flowers as the sun set. The sky turned colors that Ho had no words for, beautiful beyond description. "What happens now?" he asked. "I do not know," Lyra admitted. "My father is furious. The old ways are not going to change overnight. There will be struggles ahead." "But you will face them." "Yes," she looked at him, "because I finally know who I am, not my father's daughter, not a prize to be traded, just Lyra." Ho smiled. "That is all you ever needed to be." The 1 year was almost over. 4 more days and Ho would return to Earth. The thought filled him with both joy and sadness. On his last night, Lyra found him packing his small bag, the same bag he had brought from Waypoint 7, his tools, his clothes, the picture of his family. "Will you ever come back?" she asked. Ho paused. He looked at her, this strange and beautiful alien who had changed as much as he had during their time together. "Maybe someday," he said honestly. "But first you need to build your own life, make your own choices, become happy because of who you are, not because of me. And then we will see." It was not a promise, but it was not a goodbye either. It was something in between, something honest. Lyra handed him a small package. "For your mother, medicine that will help her stay strong." Ho's throat felt tight. "Thank you." "No," Lyra said. "Thank you for teaching me that happiness is not given, it is grown." The next morning, Ho boarded a transport ship. He looked back at the floating city one last time. Somewhere in those golden towers, a young woman was beginning to change her world. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. When the ship finally landed, Ho walked through the spaceport with his small bag over his shoulder. He saw them before they saw him. His mother looking thin but healthy, taller now, smiling bright. Then his mother looked up. Their eyes met, and suddenly they were running toward each other. The embrace lasted a long time. Ho held his family tight and felt tears on his cheeks. He was home. After everything, he was finally home. "You came back," his mother whispered. "You kept your promise." "I always will," Ho said. Hugged him next, squeezing so hard he could barely breathe. "I missed you, Opa." "I missed you too." They walked home together through streets that looked the same as when he left but felt somehow different. Or maybe Ho was the one who had changed. That night he cooked dinner for his family. Simple food, rice and vegetables, the same meals his mother had taught him years ago. As they ate together, his mother asked about his journey, about the alien world and the princess and all the things he had seen. Ho told them some of it, not everything. Some things were hard to explain, but he told them about Lyra and her garden, about the lesson he had tried to teach her. "What was the lesson?" asked. Ho thought for a moment. "That happiness is not something you find or buy or receive from others. It is something you build, with your own hands, with the people you love." His mother smiled. "I think you learned that lesson before you left home." "Maybe," Ho said, "but sometimes we need to travel far away to understand what we already knew." Far across the galaxy, on a floating island in a golden city, Lyra opened the doors of her estate gardens to common citizens for the first time in history. Children ran through the flowers, laughing. Families sat on the grass and shared simple meals. Young nobles from powerful families worked alongside servants, planting new seeds. On Lyra's desk sat a small note, written in a language she could not read, but she kept it anyway. She kept it close. The note said, "Happiness is not given, it is grown." And slowly, in two different corners of the galaxy, happiness was growing.